you know, needs
well,
an
we know
introduction.
he's a Cockney.
Everybody knows
What
him.
else about him do we need to know?
Okay, big round of applause for Scott. Thank you very much.
I think.
May I ask a question before we get started, please? Okay. So, I am not sure what a B&B known slot is. I'm getting the impression that Scott's going to tell us who he is and tell us how he does it and tell us what it's all about.
Yes. Also, in your journal, you'll see much more information in the back, so I'll just do the guidelines. But Scott can explain it as well.
Thank you.
So reality, we want to know about the people, it's about the being, the human. So we want to know about the person. So you're now going to know about sharing a little bit about yourself. I'm going to do that in a slightly different way today because I've done 3 of these before. But then also about sharing your best stuff. And it's a simple thing. It's not about selling to the room. It's not about me doing a super duper presentation with a big sell on the end or anything like that. It's just literally share my best stuff and treat you as adults. And it's your responsibility to take that best stuff and as you go use it outside of this room.
Can I just?
I've only got 44 minutes to go.
Can I just say one thing on that? I mean, the way I've seen it is that you almost said this. That the know and be known is about your being, about who you are, and then the genius slot, stroke masterclass is more about how you take that out into the world. No, you see, this is what I. This is.
Shall I get you back right?
Say.
Okay. Alright, let me clear it
We've got
up.
another 5 minutes at the end.
Yeah. Scott, give me 2 seconds, right? Because so look, a know and be known is an hour slot where collaborators shares their best stuff and a bit about their past, and you get to kind of get to understand who they are. So they get to know, they get to be known, and you get to know stuff about his particular skill sets. Yeah? So the idea is I'm going to share something about me, and I'm going to share some knowledge and insight for you to take away. And there's a little caveat: if I share my best stuff out there, people say if I share my best stuff, don't use it. Here we're saying if I share my best stuff, you better use it. Right? So we're getting educated in Scott's area of specialist understanding. Now, genius slot is more woo-woo, a little bit more experimental, more kind of challenging, pushing the boundaries. And know and be known is more ingrained in people's specialist knowledge. A genius slot could be you're researching something, you want to share it with the room. You've just found a new, or you're exploring art, or you found out something about food, and you want to go, hey guys, I've learned something really special, and it might not have anything to do with your profession or your background knowledge, but generally the genius slot was always designed to freak people out a little bit. You know, something that really challenges people.
Andrew managed that on Thursday.
Who did?
Andrew brought it.
He did. Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of stuff that could be philosophical, it could be, I mean, the last genius slot I did was about hypernormalization, how we engage with media and how we're complicit in the information that we're getting. So it's kind of cutting edge, bit more stretchy kind of stuff, and probably stuff we don't often get to share anywhere else. Yeah? Okay, because you could do a know and be known around hospitality, hotels, you know, rent out and how you do that, and people will get insight from that, but then you may share something of your life understanding and what you've learned as a human being that you want to share. So there are 2 differences. Did that make sense?
I've got it all.
Cool. Let's
Start the clock again, Jill. Start the clock again. As you pause, there's a lot of collaborators who are not here today that I think would have been here. And I think obviously last night's events have had an impact on that. There's certainly a conversation that I had with my wife last night. I'm sure we know well there are only thoughts in it, and thoughts are good at people all day, but it's no speak quiet out there. It's probably why there's a lot of people that were going to be here today that are probably not going to have that thoughts on that. But unfortunately, that's going on in life, and we deal with that every day. But we come to a big city, it is quite, you know, my wife here, me and my wife had a conversation, so she really wanted me to come to London today, you know. Might be explained why there's quite a few normal places. but that's fine. Right. This is me in one line, inspirational marketing strategist. Now, I'm going to go through a little bit of my life, so I've got, in a slightly different way, I'm going to do my life story in 3 minutes today, which will be interesting. But then I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask some personal questions. You can ask any of that kind. And those of you that have had conversations with me would know there's nothing you can't ask that I will not ask. We'll see, there might be something you can ask. Even those of you want to ask who my first girlfriend was, actually, one of these ones. I said to her, it's your wife, but it was my first girlfriend. But in essence of what that question, what do you do? This is what I tell people. So my client vision is that I inspire business owners to get actual results and through developing and implementing effective marketing strategies. When people say to me, what do you do? That's why I answer. There's a book coming out soon, a quick plug, my client vision book is coming out soon, that explains how to do that. And a bit about me, so I'm happily married to love my life in Campbell. I've got 3 children, Campbell 17, when he left home. It's quite scary, really. He explains the grey hairs and the lack of hair. Callum's 12, so interesting, who we homeschool now. He's actually come up to 13, who we actually homeschool, so it's got an interesting mix in it. And Leah, little 3-year-old, so after 3. It's a nursery, yeah, so the little girl there, the princess, is far too clever for me and gets her own way and settled things. But we have got a rule, me and Nicole, that anything she does that causes a mess that is wrong, that I've allowed her to do, I cannot be blamed for because she's too cute. Get away with that. Over 29 years in experience in sales, marketing and running businesses. Actually left school a week before my 16th birthday. So I had a place in 6th form and all that, and I just didn't want to do any more education. Didn't sit well with me. Had my 1.0 level in maths, that was enough for me to hang my hat on. Which is only because I was playing a lot of darts at the time, I think actually, talking about some of those recently. I was playing a lot of darts at the time. It helped with my maths so much. I can sort of calculate and fathom all that very quickly. So that helped with my O-level maths. In my time, I've managed 7 multi-million-pound businesses. I've been instrumental in adding over £30 million of turnover for the businesses and individuals that I've worked with since I've been running my own business since 2009. And more importantly, obviously, I've been a collaborator now for just over 2 years now, I can say, not just at the SS1. And this is my 53rd meeting. Wow. And when I started, there was only one a month in Hartford. And I've got a record, I think, that, I don't think, well, it might be actually, depending on how many groups we end up with over the time, particularly after Joe 13, we might have those groups, but 5 meetings in 1 month I've done twice. So no one else has done that. And I'm pretty sure 53 meetings, other than Erkan, Jill, and Beiju, I don't think anyone else.
I think you've overtaken Beiju.
It only went to 2, didn't it? Just after.
Don't you like working?
Huh? Well, I'm going to cover that later actually. It's an interesting point of that. I'm going to cover something about that later. Which might show. And my business interest is, and there is many, and it seems every week that someone offers me a business opportunity. Still running over about being part of an Italian restaurant in London, which is an interesting one. Because usually I don't eat. I don't think people come up to me like Italian restaurant. I don't eat anything, do I? So why would someone a famous Italian restaurant or chef comes to me? Yes, do you know? Yeah, I want to get you involved in it. You can come and try the food. Do not know me well enough. But my business here, GI marketing is my main interest at the moment. So that's the social media agency, marketing agency, and other conversations is going to very much be looking at doing what I do is actually an outsourced CMO position for companies. Seems to be a need that's right at the moment. And affecting people's lives is my one-to-one mentoring. That's going to become more of a transformation space. I want to make that into more aligned to the B Collaboration Essex group that I host. Business on Fire is something where, when I talk about collaboration for specialists, this is where collaboration is really, big collaboration affected my business interest, is that I would have never been in partnership. And in fact, my wife reminded me that I actually wanted, I will never, ever, ever be in a partnership with another business owner. I'll always be the only business owner in the best of big positions. And yet, 2 of them businesses, I'm a business partner. I'm one with 3 other businesses, which is an outsourced marketing agency. And then the positive vibe, which is I suppose my movement, my passion really a little bit in terms of that, about curating an innovative meeting and business hub. And there's some collaborators involved in that really as well. So that's my business interest. If I can do this in 3 minutes, my size. This is my life story in 3 minutes, right? So 1971, 1987 was my being born and my educating and up to school. 1987 to 2019 is what I call the corporate years, Colin, these ones. So when I got a job with a very big, large corporate company, which I didn't realise they were a large corporate company in Mayfield. When I worked for a local council, quite a big organisation, and then I worked for Dixon Scotts Group for a number of years, running projects for them. 2009 to 2011, and the reason why this is an uphill is because I did really well in my career. And nothing really happened to me in a personal way. I never had any personal tragedies. The first funeral that I went to that actually I cared anything about was in 2001, so I was 30 before my first funeral that I actually meant was my granddad. Before that, I didn't really have any death in the family or illnesses, anything like that. So it's almost kind of a nice curve, straight line. That was lots of successes in my career. I've done very well in my career, and a number of awards and that. I was the youngest person in my managerial position in Dixon Scotts Group by about 15 years, and first person to lead, first one, all these sort of things. So that was all good. 2009 is when I went and worked for myself. And we had initially actually, I did put that as a slightly upbeat, but then thinking about it, I did it as more of a line. But I went and worked for myself, bang in the recession. And the reason why I left Dixon Scotts Group is because they were trying to treat people like crap again. And I didn't. And I got a bit, threw my toys out my pram and couldn't deal with that. I got into people management and stuff like that. And I threw my toys out my pram and left. I didn't have any redundancy, I didn't have any fallback plan, I didn't have any. I worked out on the way home, because I had to go home and explain to my wife, obviously. I worked out about 2.5 months worth of money. I didn't have any kind of backup plan to that. But actually, in reality, it was all right. And I found a little niche in helping small businesses marketing. So plumbers, electricians that hadn't done any marketing before. And actually supporting them through the recession was really rewarding. Then 2011, really, for me, rock bottom. I talk about having nothing coming in that time period. Some of you know the story that my dad got cancer, my sister had a brain tumour, and my brother passed away, which is a bit like me. And my younger brother was really close to. So, and then because of the way I reacted to that at the time, it went on a complete down spiral in my life. So we lost the house, we lost the cars, we ended up at this rock bottom bit in a one bed sit, which was half the size of this. If we actually put these things across, it was that and 2 rooms. But very, very ill wife, failed the shoot, pregnant, my cat, and 2 kids. And we'd actually come from a 5-bedroom detached house, all that stuff was in there. And I was joking, funny to joke about it now at the time, it was like, oh God, serious depression sort of possible. But our bed that we were sleeping in, Ben, my wife was bedridden as well, and we had 3 mattresses. So she was sleeping on a bed on top of 3 mattresses. It was probably a good reason that she was bedridden, because she couldn't get in and out.
Could she still feel the pee? Could she still feel the pee?
What was the catalyst, Scott? What happened? Why did you go into that pit?
Because I'd had anything really bad in my life happen. And my brother dying was a major one.
So did you just kind of stop working?
I stopped doing everything. I stopped living. For 6 weeks. Everything. My kids, just stopped living completely. Yeah. I was very, that's what, but I talk about now, and actually, I'm really proud grateful for what happened. I'm not suggesting the route that we went down is a route anyone should go down, but I'm really grateful for what happened. And at the end of the day, you know, things happen, you know, life and death is part of life. And it set me out, what it has set me out now to deal with. I think we talked about this when I did my heart once, resilience, isn't it, is the word. Built a real resilience in me. That you get to that rock bottom bit, and for me and my wife, talk about understanding that you love each other, it's incredible, you know, we don't need things or reasons, whatever, because we've been there, you know, and kind of that bit you always say, I always say it, you know, you say jokingly, oh, well, as long as we've got a roof over our head, we'll be alright. You know, but when you're 24 hours away from not knowing if you've got a roof over your head, and then the roof you have over your head is a complete shithole, excuse the language, and you're still together, and you get through that, then that is really, really powerful. And the reason I'm quite specific about August on this one is because Leah was born in August 2013, which, again, I mean, my wife was pretty much she had kidney failure, liver failure throughout the whole pregnancy, so she was bedridden. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I kind of thought that when Leah's born, everything would be alright. You know, but as it turns out it wasn't, you know, they still had to kind of fight for their life, both of them afterwards, you know, and so that was really the real lowest and lowest, you know. And I was sitting there, which, you know, I'm going to get more tearful about it actually, being uplifting that, you know, but I had that situation, I was sitting, I already thought I'd hit my lowest, I think, at that point. But then I was sitting there, and my wife, I actually didn't really understand what pain my wife was in, because it was kind of blood everywhere and all this blood going on. But they were trying to resuscitate my daughter. And I was just sitting there, I was just like, and I've got so much respect for, I don't know if it's the right word, the people that have lost a child and still get on to do that. Because I was seriously thinking, I was like, you know, I didn't want the person to turn around to tell me, I didn't know how to do that. And then actually, when they told me, you know, I saw her coming back to life, and I went into the house and I had to go in the bathroom bit, and it's kind of, well, you know, kind of, we all kind of self actually, kind of, you know, and breathing again and stuff like that. And then I looked around, and then my wife's thing started going off, and then so that was a real low point. But it was also the point of, it made me, and I think that was the lesson for me there really, that at that point was when I really got it, that money doesn't change fuck all. Because there's no amount of money I could have paid someone to change their situation at that point. So even though it was the rock bottom, it was also a really, really valuable lesson to me. And every bit of success that I've got today is because of that lesson that I had in that point. And the reason why I'm quite specific about October 2013, because during this time, this rock bottom, we actually did have some good news where in June we moved into the house we're in now. And we had this, as you all do when you're sort of kind of, especially when you're a young couple initially, you have this kind of dream home that you all want, you know. But because of the commercialism, you do things for convenience. So, you know, we bought a brand new house for convenience. And even though we talked about, we might buy the next single home, you know, we didn't. We bought another brand new home because it was convenient. October 2013 was when Campbell and Leah first come home, and we was in our new house, which is an old house, and where we are now, a massive garden, fields in the front, fields in the back, and a little, tiny little hamlet outside really. So that was really exciting. And then from that, today, to be honest, it's been all good. Yeah. It's been all good. It's slightly longer than 3 minutes.
That's 30 minutes.
What are we not surprised?
I wasn't expecting that.
So from that open book, any personal questions before we come to the good stuff?
Catalyst to turn you around. Was there a moment?
There was about anywhere between sort of 5 and 10 moments, Chris, during it. And it was interesting that, I think I've said this before at Essex, when I thought I really needed money, and it didn't come, and I was a bit angry about that at the time. When I found out like 3 months later, that was not when I needed the money or that. And it really, things showed us a bit. So I mean, there was about 5 or 6 different categories that took me down a step. And reality, in some ways looking at it, it would have been a lot easier if my wife hadn't been ill during that whole process. But a catalyst of us getting through that was the fact that because she was ill, I couldn't afford to be ill. And I had to be positive, I had to, be doing things, and very little support around us at the time, which I was really angry about at the time, and now I'm not. I mean, once when I got that, got to that one thing, and then kind of had that sort of thing about that actually, we did this with very little company, we did this all within, rather than someone put it on a plate, is actually what I needed.
So your brother died, you had the illness with your wife, and all these things just came all at once. Have you not had any tragedy or trauma, significant trauma in your life at all? How would you, if you could do it again? Do you know? I'm trying to reach for the question. I'm not quite sure what the question is, but it's around. You don't want any. So I wouldn't like to think that not having trauma in your life can have such a negative impact. What would be the change that you would make in yourself to make sure that you could deal with all of that stuff better?
Well, we did actually. It's interesting. What I didn't put there is particularly during that August and October time, and I apologise if I've said this before or some other things, but there was a situation then where when my wife come home sick for 10 weeks, right, there was to the point where we lost the house, and my wife said, you're going to go back to work and stuff like that. And then at that point, I'd already kind of prepared myself that I kind of wanted my business to deal with any life. Because even though the rock bottom part of no money was actually what I initially thought was rock bottom, actually was on the start of that, I think, when I lost all the money and lost all the things. But in reality, it wasn't. There was far more worse scenarios than the money, which is why the rock bottom was around the car and near at the time. But when I come out of that initial first blip, if you like, it started about 6 weeks later. I need to get on with life, and then the downside was dealing with all the consequences of what happened. That I prepared my business so it could deal with having a life. Because I lost my business literally because all my clients everything was transaction. So. Rightly so, I didn't have no clients there or nothing like that. When Nicole come home after 10 weeks, a couple of days later she had the conversation and said, well, what are you going to do now for work? And I just said, well, it's fine, it's all right. And she said, yeah, but what are you going to do? It's fine. And she went, what are you going to do? It's been on and off, by the way, for quite a while. And I literally had to show her all the orders and stuff that I had and whatever. And at the time, now it's eclipsed now, but at the time, it was the best sort of kind of 10 weeks I'd had financially in my business at the time. And that was, I was purely open with everyone around. I had this personal situation going on. I planned to I initially set up because I was on the sort of recovery, I thought on the recovery I started putting in place this 3 months success program that I was doing. Pre-sold it to start 3 weeks after Nicole would give birth, after the due date, thinking I'd have a bit of paternity leave and then start this. But what I didn't know was it was going to be 10 weeks out. So,
what would you say to someone who hasn't had any significant traumas in their lives to prepare them for the fact that they might have something? Because you've been through it, and I'm just wondering how would you deal with that? Would you advise them if you could?
I'm not sure if you can without having to deal with it.
Yeah.
I look back to how I was before, and I was flippant about a lot of stuff. and not in the way that I think of myself as a horrible person. There was still, you know, a lot of good in me, and I remember my old gran used to say to me, you know, you're different than all the rest of the family, Scott, you know, and I always say to, you know, my sister had a different father. I didn't find out until I was, I think, 18. And my first reaction was, are you sure it's not me? You know, are you sure I have different parents? My first reaction to I thought, oh, if any, my sister is so much like my mum and dad, it's unbelievable, you know. I don't think you can. I don't think you, honestly, I don't, because traumatic events, what they do is they change your... I was educated in a material world.
I think as well, you answered it earlier, Scott, is you're more resilient when you've got love.
Yeah.
And when you've got good relationships and you put the people around you that support you, disasters strike, and if you've got that support network and that love that's strong, shit hits the fan, totally.
Right, so it kind of follows on. So would you, because I've got a theory around this kind of stuff anyway, but so would you then view your children as being lucky for having lived through that, so to have experienced that, so that then they can have this point from earlier in their life and have that resilience from such an early age? Because as parents, we generally want to wrap our kids up.
Yes and no. Yes and no. And I tried to convince myself that was the right answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was me dealing with kind of not being a good dad, you know, surely by this time. You know, it's like when you're 18, you go, yeah, I'm going to retire when I'm 30. You know, it's just like, we're that bored. And then your life is starting again when you're 40, you think, hang on a minute, this ain't what I was told life was supposed to be like. But but in a way, so yeah, I try and convince them that I'm not sure they need to live through it that early age. I mean, Callum was very early, and it affected his school life quite a bit, I think, which is probably why we're homeschooled. That's the repercussions of that. But also, there's a part that they would never remember it. At kids, it's very easy for us to block out stuff. There's big gaps in my childhood, and I think, why have I got that big gap? And actually, when I hear then some things, some snippets where it kind of, yeah, that's why I've got a big gap.
Yeah.
You know, I'd obviously, you block out about that, their feet. So I think that's a bit of you do, as a kid, to be really, really resilient as a kid. To block out what you don't want. And then you get mummy and daddy issues later on in life, obviously. So yes, and I don't think you'll understand, but what they have won out of it is they've got a dad that's more appreciative of them more than anything.
That's what I've loved.
Yeah. So it's not a day, I can see it the way Leah's nature is, there's not a minute or day when I look at her when I'm not so grateful that she's in with us, And so that is part of creating who she's been. Two more quick ones.
What do you now believe about yourself that you didn't believe before?
I got told sometimes that I was very sarcastic and arrogant, and I believe that now.
You believe that you are?
Yeah. So, prior to all that happening, I could walk past a homeless person, not feel anything. Yeah, me and Campbell walked past a homeless person in Chelmsford the other day on Saturday, and I know what it is, but I felt I had to go into shop and go and buy some stuff and give them some food.
Oh, so alright, so what
So
do you
a lot of people
believe
say,
about-
well, I was flipping at that stuff.
Okay.
I could do a stand-up routine about disabled people, no problem, and not feel bad about it. And I'm not saying that's not bad, burden about that, it's just because I wasn't new to that stuff, it's like... And I never used to cry in movies, and I do all the time.
That's the question.
Is that the question?
How is that changed, that experience?
Yeah. And it's also not looking the... I'd say the phrase that will probably really grasp it easily, that I never really understood, was the don't judge a book by its cover. Really, because I was completely judging everyone by cover. And now it's know. So again, you know, if I do I had my routine, my 25-minute routine in the morning and a 5-minute routine at night. And one of that is about reminding myself of all the random acts of kindness I've done during the day. I used to have to really think about that. Now it's my bad. So if I open the door for someone and they walk through and they don't say thank you in it doesn't bother me. I've done my random act of kindness, but I don't know what's going on in their world. Whereas before I would have probably grabbed them, pulled them back and said, hey, you get it yourself. But you don't know what's going on underneath that cover. And it's not my decision, it's my random act of kindness has been done. I don't need them to acknowledge it.
Thanks.
Cool.
Right.
Quick one, if I may. Your son, who's 17, you said he was thinking about leaving home.
No, he has left us.
He has left home,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay. Is he following in your footsteps in terms of that kind of free spirit type of person?
Well, first of all, he suffers from ADHD and Asperger's, so it's difficult for him. And it was a difficult decision to let him to leave house, but that was probably part of us understanding that for the better of him, whereas before it would have been, no, your son stays with you, and that's where actually we put his life, what his needs were.
All right.
Instead of, and to really give that some context, he lives with my mum and dad, who I don't talk to.
Wow.
So that was a difficult decision for us, but that's probably one of the learning things is that it's what needs to be right for him and his life at this point rather than not what's right for us.
So is he continuing with his education?
Yeah, because we've got the college place, and actually where they live, it's easier for him to get to the college and stuff like that. Because we live in our choice to have a tiny little village which has 2 buses a day. If you miss one of them, you should go in trouble. So he needed his, I suppose a little bit. He needed his own, independence, if you like, and that being put in that environment helps him with that. Right. Now, dual time bliss, getting the best from your membership, which is absolutely right. I'm going to be a little bit more, if you like, direct in terms of people answers, and this is the one mindset and 4 C's, which really, how I figured out, is how I generate clients through any community, and particularly through this community. But in reality, what I worked out, it works for any members group. So, if you're a BNI member, BIS, EBM, whatever they are, they're always 3 letters, aren't they? Is that the same? The conversation. But it doesn't matter what the name is of the door, it's actually who the people are in the room for the starters. But with this strategy, if you want to put it, this mindset, will get you, if you come across anyone that sort of says that, oh, I've been in it a year and I've got nothing out of it, I'm leaving, I guarantee they can't answer, they're doing all of these. Or the first mindset, which are going to be a bit later, they're definitely, the one mindset is actually the one mindset you need to lose. But also, this is a community. So the first C, which I'm going to go away a little bit, is the community. And it doesn't matter, if you're in a community where we talk about if it's yachting and you like boats, using this strategy, you can be able to generate clients through that community, through any community. Well, we do want to sit you in terms of, remind you back to sort of the whole, was it initial introduction, if you all remember that, I know you wouldn't have seen that one, but it talks about being in a place where you hear things differently. So if you're sitting there thinking, I've heard this all before, it's not going to work for my business, then you need to lose that straight away. Because in essence it works for you, it will work for any business. And if anything like that, I think one of the things that allows me, particularly for my clients, to get a lot of interest in sort of kind of different kind of strategies is that I'll look at a strategy and go, if it worked, if I see a bit someone doing success with something, I will go, oh, I wonder if that could work for this kind of industry. We did that once with a wine thing, actually. Part of my work, like I said, about 18 months ago now. There was a little community hall that were doing, and they were selling all arts and crafts and all that. And it was a little village hall, and instead of it was like, so it was only like about £10 for, I don't know, 6 days to hire it or whatever these people was like. And he was doing wine tasting and selling wine. So I wonder if that could work with that. Do like just say people come to a wine tasting in a local community hall and just have the bottles there you can sell. And it caused another problem because he ended up having to like kind of like about 300 bottles of wine that he sold. Then he had a problem of he had to get his out of people afterwards. So it's that mindset kind of not thinking that wouldn't work my business. Because if you look at anything and then reverse engineer it can pretty much make it work for most businesses. So, apart from Colin, because he knew the answer to this in Harvard, we left a conversation at the bar until we started talking politics and art. Anyone want to guess what this number is?
55.
Yeah, what does it mean?
Age next birthday?
No. 45. That's not that close, is it?
71.
Can we have
See, you were thinking that you meant you.
No.
Or you were thinking that I meant you.
Yeah.
For context.
Just trying to work it out.
I am actually 55 next birthday.
So you're talking about you.
Yes.
Okay, can you? Know what it is?
55, so the context we're talking about, is it most people give up after the 55th attempt?
Two meetings today.
Right, well, so now I'm going to scare you. Are you videoing this, aren't you? You're videoing this?
Yeah.
So we're going to share this video with people that have come and gone, people that are not around the community as much. 55 represents £55,000 the big collaboration has worked to me this year so far.
Wow. Just this year?
Yeah. And not this financial year, this year.
Wow.
Can you drop my prices, please?
Can I come with you to the Italian restaurant?
Let's take the top and only be the 5. And the reason why Colin went that is me, Colin, and Paul Baker were having a conversation with in Hartford, and Paul's interested said something which it's easy for your business because everyone's clear what you do. The majority for that is that bottom part of the business, which only about 5 people in this community know about, and that is not advertised anywhere specifically. Because we do it by application only, we only do application when it's right for a particular client that we're one of us or we're working with. So it's not advertised anywhere, got a really shitty one-page website, because we don't want anyone to go to it, and
What's the average sales price? What's the average sales price?
what's the other?
Average sales price.
Average, ATV on that.
You don't have to tell me.
That might be open about. It's probably between 5 and 6.
Is it still to do with marketing? Or is it a different business?
Yeah, all in one way or another. So it's all,
Are you
oh,
gonna-
that it's all marketing strategy, yeah.
So it's marketing.
And the other part of the business, which accounts for probably about 40% of that, is the business of part, which is a bit of everything. So it's just improving that whole.
Well, why is it only 5% of people know it? Why is
Because don't advertise it.
okay?
It's
So
not. When someone asks me what I do, what my company is, my main company is marketing.com.
yeah. So what is it then that's created this 55,000? Is it to do with marketing?
Yeah, no, it's to do with the 4 C's and the 1 mindset, which I'm going to go through.
Okay.
So that all
So I'm going to show you, I'm going to be really transparent, I'm going to show you exactly how this has come to fruition.
Okay, so that's showing you how, but what is the actual business, or is that what you're going to share?
No, it doesn't matter what the business is.
No, but I'm
But
interested.
it's my marketing business, in one
Okay.
way or all the businesses in some way,
So it's
it's marketing.
yeah.
It does include positive marketing, because that's not launched yet.
Okay, so
So
it's
it's all-
marketing.
yeah. A majority through what I call my what I'm now calling, which I realise I've been doing, with not actually realising what I was doing, was my outsource chief marketing officer sort of service for businesses.
What does GIE stand for?
Give, influence, engage. So that's my strategy for how people should use social media. You give great micro content, you influence your target audience, and you engage with your target audience.
Is it all to do with social media?
No. We haven't even touched that, have we, yet? We haven't got to that point yet.
So that almost directly correlates with how many groups you've been to as well.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Basically, doesn't it?
yeah. Well,
That jumps out to me.
well, there's an interesting stat come up later that we'll probably, which will explain that a little bit as well. But here's the thing, and this is the mind. There's one mindset, but the mindset I'm up in is the mindset that you need to lose completely. Okay, and that mindset is what's in it for me. When anyone says, I'm not sure how much business I've got out of Big Lab, and I'm just not Big Lab, because I haven't really got any clients out of it, you're in that mindset. And any false state mindset. Now, when I talk about, and I'll talk about the one that I'm a member of BRX, which is pretty much a copy of BNI. Unless I get sued on the back of this, so I didn't say that. But they're all a copy of each other at some point. It's just that BNI did it better than anyone. And I've been a member of BNI, by the way, as a disclosure. And I'm not, but you know, because of their success, they were all kind of bought that. But I've joined BRX, and it's a business referral network, or it's business referral exchange. I think they got sued, so they couldn't use the E, so that's why it's the X, something like that. But anyway, but it's business referral exchange. So I joined there as a strategy, you know, that to get business. Okay? And I joined that, and we go back to the be, do, have in the collaboration thing. So I joined that. And most people go there about pitching for their business and then very contextual about how much business I've got from this and that. The process is there to get referrals. All I need to know is I need to have, I get my 60 seconds, right? I get a 10-minute service. What are you really? Oh dear. We're stretching to 5 minutes of the Q&A? Yeah. So we, the process there, you know, we have the referral section at the end. So the process is there. So I don't need to worry about what's in it for me. So every conversation I have is around, well, what's best for you? You know, our conversation with you first about, well, how can I get business for you then? You know? That's my whole conversation with you. We're talking about an adult, which I'm saying to me now, what's your best referral I can get for you? And what I'm interested in is in the people in the room. Because I've lost this mindset of what's in it for me. The process is there to deal with that. And in reality, big collaborations and people don't understand that the process is there really to help you get clients with big collaboration, if that's real big. As soon as you think of what's in it for me, then you're struggling.
Yeah, agreed.
And you're struggling with everything. You know, you go into a relationship, from your thing, you know, you want to go into a relationship with a girl and you're really thinking, what's in it for me? You're up against a losing streak straight away, you know. So that's the mindset you need to lose. And with any community. So, and if you think about when you go into a community, if it's around something that you love doing, you're not actually bothered about what's in it for you because, oh, it's worth the cost, it's worth it because I'm getting to do what I love doing. How many times do we hear that? And that's because they've lost this mindset. But it's the same for big collaboration, the same for big, I love being in the room with you people. It's the same. So we're going to pass through these 4 C's, I've been going there. So the first one actually is the community, just trust the process. And join a community, so that we're in a community of like-minded people. Right? And join communities that you're going to enjoy the environment. I've done a lot of networking and really didn't like a lot of the networking. And again, people say, well, why BRX not BNI and all that? And it's just the people in the room, you know. When I went there, and when there was a guest, you know, for someone, the people in the room, it was regardless of what the name is above the door. And I really enjoy that community. I really enjoyed the Friday morning there, and really good fun. And as it happens now, 3 of them in there are my business partners, so And that's how it's translated. So trust the community, just trust the process you're in. You know, and just join a community because you want it like this one. You want to be, like you said, be around the like-minded people, be inspired by people around you. That's a great start, you know. And if you lose that mindset, what's in it for me, and not kind of do the sums at the end of the month, you know, how many businesses have got from here. As soon as you answer yourself that question, and if someone ever asks you, well, how much business have you got out of big collaboration? Then you know they're in that mindset, what's in it for me, just by asking that. And what's much nicer if you justify that way and go, well actually, I can justify it because it's worth 55 grand to me. And most people when they say that, you know, now, you know, but it's still not here because of that figure. I'm still here and I still contribute because it's not the what's in. The second one, the second C, after you in your community, is you need to have conversations with people. And I very much highlight that you need to have conversations with people. Just go and find that with people. And if there's someone that you see a few times, and Colin, I'm going to use the example actually, a few times that kind of, you know, say hello to each other, blah, 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 you know, probably about 6 or 7 times we've probably crossed paths and stuff. And I just said to Colin out there, Colin, what is it you do? I need to understand what you do. And that was me just having conversations with someone. Again, not trying to sell myself to Colin about what he does. You know, this is, oh, Colin, let me tell you about what I do, what, you know, what sort of girls I'm looking for. You know, or trying to think Colin could be a good client for me. No, the conversation was, I just need to find out what Colin does. Because the guy interests me, you know. So I want to find out what he does. So have conversations with people. You don't need a traffic light system or whatever they do in these things to force you to go and have a conversation with someone to bring a couple of points. And if you're sitting in this room thinking, I haven't had a conversation with that person, I don't really know. If you're sitting there marking, like, actually, you remember, I don't really know Stuart that well, whatever. Have them conversations. It's amazing how many paths cross and being that person. And it's amazing when you ask someone, what do you do, and what type of referrals you're looking for. It's amazing that probably 99% out of 100, that the next question they ask you is, well, what do you do? Who are you looking for? But you've taken the leverage because you've asked us. But you need to have conversations with people. That's the whole point of community. And what you've got to remember, you're in a community of like-minded people. If there's something you see in the room going, that's made you join B Collaboration, we all had the same bloody feeling. So you know what, you're amongst like-minded people, regardless if you're a transformational accountant, an ex-accountant, an innovator, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's why communities work. So have conversations with people. I mean, you've got next door neighbours that, you know, not detached houses, semi-detached or even detached houses, as long as you don't live in a place where you've got loads of houses around it. What's the first thing you do when you move into a new area or a new house?
I find out those neighbours. Always.
Find out your neighbours.
Especially if you've got a dog that landlady doesn't know about.
You go and have conversations with people in a community. You want to know how to win it on Twitter? Go and have conversations with people on Twitter. Imagine going to a networking event. You turn up at a new networking event, there's 2 people standing in the middle of the room. You're telling me you're going to stand in the other corner and not talk to them? You're going to go up to them, and as soon as one of them gives you an opportunity to join that conversation, you're going to join that conversation. That's Twitter in 2 seconds, done. That's the thing. Have conversations with people. This, I think, is probably the biggest one for people in terms of they think they're doing this, but they're not doing it. And we're going to have an exercise. Instead of the Q&As, we've done that, we'll have the exercise, the activity bit. That saves some time. You've got to contribute. You've got to get visible. And it's not just turning up. I know people that have been in the community that have been in the community for maybe 6 months plus, and then been sitting with someone and saying, oh, who's that again? Who's that guy over there? You probably heard that when people saying it to you, around it. You've got to contribute to community. And it doesn't mean doing loads of stuff for free and stretching you out and doing all this stuff. It's actually just how can you contribute to the community you're in? Because as soon as you start contributing, you get visible. It's the same in BOX, the same BNI and all that. As soon as you start contributing to the group, people start knowing who you are. I find it quite interesting in my BOX one is a lot of people come to me, I'm not the chairman or anything like that, the group, my future start with film, I don't know, whatever it is. It means I have to carry the box and pull the crap out every night. I think I lost because I had the biggest boo. I think that was the problem there. But most people get that then think they get drawn to like the chairman or the people, because they're getting visible. But actually, in reality, because they're contributing. And even though I've not got that one, I contribute in get involved in their conversations. I go to the committee meeting, and have a say, and just contribute within that community. Because when I contribute, what happens is it gets visible, and it's no surprise now that what happens is when everyone's got, we had a new member, they had an issue with their membership, they come to me. I'm not the membership secretary, whatever it is, I'm not the chairman, but they ask me. When someone had a visitor come, I'm not the visitor host or whatever we call them. We had someone who had a visitor last week, they emailed me and said, I'm their first point of contact. It's about being visible within your community and being contributing. We're going to do an exercise about that in a little bit, about how to contribute or how you're going to contribute. And this doesn't actually really tell the story, actually, does it, John? My contribution is the collaboration, so part of the comms team, part of the Be a Voice team, part of the Compasses team, and host of the Essex group. And that probably only just starts the tip of the surface of the contribution. And I had a period with every collaborator goes through, and mine was very clear. It was in November 2015, sitting on Jill's sofa, around it's been cold white for me. What am I doing really cold? I'm waiting on my out. And we've had this conversation, and I was out on stage. And then I got pretty passionate about it, but then afterwards I had to take some action. I couldn't just get on my soapbox and have a moan about something and then go. I had to, well actually, how am I going to get visible? And so I was doing this stuff before I realised what it was actually, and then how do I get visible in the community? I wasn't having conversations because I'm not that type of person, that I'm not very out there and extroverted, I'm very, Justin used to tell me, a confident introvert when he used to call me, but I set myself 2 big goals. And any commercial opportunities that have come from big collaboration will always come from me setting these 2 goals. Okay? And the first goal was, how do I get to a position where, and at the time I think it was just went to 2 groups, and the London one started, and we were talking about you guys talking about more groups coming very soon. So my first goal was, in a year's time, how can we be in a position where no one in big collaboration doesn't know who Scott Campbell is? No. And my second goal was, how do I change something that forevermore, that people say we do that because of Scott did this. And what I want to make clear out of them is there was no monetary targets, is there, in them goals? There's no what's in it for me. In fact, quite the opposite, because it meant a lot more work for myself. It's improving the community. But again, if you go into any community, you set yourself a couple of particular goals. And what that has happened is allowed me, as big collaboration, to actually be a vehicle for my own personal development growth. And if you see that post that I put on Facebook group not so long ago, about 2 years, have you seen a change in me? The level of conversation, what people have seen the change in me. It's a little bit different if I put that on my Facebook normal profile. That's a little bit way, you look good, blah, blah, blah. But they're the two goals I set myself to how I was going to contribute to the community.
Well, I hate to say that last 4C starts with M.
Hey?
Is this the 4C?
No, it's the third one.
Oh, still on the third one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was going to ask you where the fourth one was.
So this is contribution. This is
Right, okay,
contribution.
thank you.
And the fourth one, is content. Share your best stuff. And I don't mean this in terms of wait till you get to be a known, be known. I'm talking about every simple conversation that you have. So do you remember my primary about to inspire business owners to get actual results? We're developing and implementing effective marketing strategies. Like that's how I live my kind of conversation. So everyone I have conversation with, regarding the Simon Sinek way about the money will come with you, then content, share your best stuff. You don't have to wait till you're in this room. When you're having them conversations, share your best stuff.
What the definition of your best stuff being your business stuff, what you've learned through your life, or just whatever?
Well, whatever's related to, that's what is related to your business, obviously.
Okay.
So it might be when you're having conversations with people, it just, if you share your best stuff, like it's going to help them in some way, they're going to really want to find out who you are as a person.
Might not always be a business, I guess.
No, but it will come back to your business at some point, because when they want to find out what you do, and people want to reciprocate people that help them. And the thing is the good book analogy, as I call it, is that if someone recommends a book to you that in any which way or form makes a positive impact in your life, you'll always remember who recommended that book. So you think about a book in your head that's really had a positive impact on you, I bet you can remember who actually recommended you to read it. So when you're having them bits of conversation with people, just share your best stuff. And that sharing your best stuff might be pointing them in the right direction. One of the things I said to Deepak, he needs to go and have a coffee with Colin and have a conversation with him. I know you've got the email just in there, follow it up. That's me sharing my best stuff with Deepak, because I know if he has a conversation with Colin, Colin's the best person in this room that can help him. That's me sharing my best stuff. And that's me understanding actually more what Colin does, because I've had conversations with Colin. We're going to work out the Phil Commission name. No.
I'd call that win-win.
It is completely win-win, that is it, That is sharing the best stuff and knowing the community, knowing who to point them in the direction. Was it when Christmas meal, Claudia's and so talking about how she hasn't got a boyfriend, wasn't it? We're like, what do? We literally dragged Becky over the sat beside her. I'm sharing your best stuff.
Actually, I didn't. No, because I was talking about a thing she'd just done knowingly known, didn't she? Or she'd done something in the weekend talking about something she was doing. She was talking more about that. So.
A little bit about if you have conversations with people, it's sharing your best stuff and just literally telling them pointing them in the right direction, who the best person is in this community. Activity time. So we're going to use my Q&A time, aren't we, to...
Yeah.
That was Urquhart talking at the start, by the way. That's a problem.
That was your 30-minute life story.
I didn't do it in the mirror, obviously. I didn't know there was going to be questions in between. So activity time. So this is where, in your journals, you've got your... each hand have got a journal. Can you just... Or Jill, yeah, can you just... You've got the actions you're going to take away from today and do. So in this... Can I just...
Yes.
So just in the bit there, the... yeah. Where is it, Jill?
Next one up.
Oh, yeah. What actions am I committing to as a result of today's meeting? So in that part, And literally, I've only got 2 minutes. Just have a quick thing. It doesn't have to be the whole all worked out yet. How are you going to contribute to the big whole community? And it doesn't have to be tomorrow or whatever. Let's say next 6 months or something.
I've got one. I'll share it.
We'll show afterwards. But you can write down there. Just have a couple minutes yourself. And it could be something a bit vague. So remember, one of my goals was changing something that people can go back to and say, we do that because the race Scott did it. Which was the nobody knows stuff.
Or we're getting sued because that's why Scott did it. Can I add something? I'll just share. You just said, I'm going, managing Jules as well we do all that all the time because we are doing it, right? Yeah. And then I thought, you know what can I set myself that I haven't set myself for ages and I haven't done this year is a date for the next Be Inspired programme.
Mm. Yeah, get on with it.
Get on with it.
And it does apply to Jill and Erkan because as we get more groups, then they won't want to be visible, Just saying in the Essex group, we had to introduce Erkan to the Essex group because it's just not visible in that group. But if you think about having 30, 40 groups in an online space, how's Erkan and Jill going to be visible in that community still?
Artificial intelligence. And robotics. Hello, I am Jill.
How's the new Glenn going to come? Community. And it could be your contribution then. It could be I'm going to commit to doing 10, 12 meetings this next year. That could be your contribution. Oh, well, of course you don't know, but they remember that.
Actually, go back to the attendance, because everyone went, I think you said it's a grander meeting, but it isn't. You made that this year, which is probably about 10, 12 meetings.
No, I think the
It correlates to how much Scott's been.
There's a relationship between your commitment to the collaboration, the amount you want to.
How much I contribute?
Per meeting.
How much I contribute? So when you contribute, you get visible.
Yeah.
But then
when you contribute from in your community, and you're having conversations with people, and you're contributing, and you're sharing your best stuff, then that's attraction marketing on steroids right there. All these people, and I think I might have said it, I can't remember if I said it in the video, these people that do attraction marketing, most of them don't know the crap what they're talking about. Right? Because it's not. But attraction marketing, you're really authentic, people get drawn to it, actually I want to have conversations with you. So if you do their policies and not with that mindset of what's in it for me, it becomes very, very attractive.
Yes.
It's also when you're doing that within the community, it's like wax on, wax off. So when you're doing that with DRX, or you're at a golfing event, or you're at a business event, you're on form to step in straight away.
Before we share, that was that minute. I want that back.
Just took a minute.
I want to go back to something I alluded to a little while ago. The April and May. Because GI marketing only formed in March the 1st, so we didn't even have that at the start of the year actually. But April and May in my working life have been the 2 busiest months of my working life ever in terms of task on tape and income generated from them. My 2 busiest months ever, April and May. And as we're heading already up to what's going to happen in June, a couple of clients have come on board last week and this week. June will probably eclipse April, so it'll be June. But April, May, my 2 busiest months, income and task-wise, for my whole ever business life. Okay? During April, May, this is my 7th big whole meeting that I've attended.
Wow. You're hardcore, dude.
And just that. And I played more golf in April, May than I have done for the whole of the last 5 years.
Now you're talking about
There you go.
Yeah.
Feedback.
Yeah.
Were you listening?
He's inspiring me.
Yeah.
Is it
So more
working
golf.
then?
So, and I've been sitting there, and you know, and it's being aware of actually going back to when you know your limits and going when you're rock bottom. You get to know where. I think you get to know where your limits are. And you can, so Wednesday morning, you know, I was due to go and meet a player, and I said, look, I literally texted him. I was just
In the golf course.
no, I needed to. It wasn't because of golf actually in the sun, but the calls it. But I needed to go to bed for an hour to, you know, because I knew I was, that, you know, I'd done a bit too much a couple of nights before the weekend. But they've been my 2 months. So that, you know, and that's because I'm living and breathing the 4 Cs. The 4 Cs hasn't been something I've gone, oh, I need to sit down and we're working out what this magic strategy is. I looked down and thought, how the fuck have I created all this money from networking and from being in BCO? And that was actually when I then actually we made the 4 Cs. People saying I should be 5 Cs and I haven't counted. So who wants to share accountability there? Is that a contribution? Sorry. Go on.
I'm going to go for accountability because I want you to be the person I'm accountable
Well,
to. So I want to ask to do known be known because I've never done it yet.
Yeah.
And the thing that I really want to give back with, I'm really brilliant at arranging a night out, and I really believe that business owners need a night off as well. And I'd like to arrange a night off.
Yes.
Because when we went out,
Anyone else to share? You can go on.
Yeah, I'm just talking to Jill earlier. She's putting together a product on how to collaborate, and I'm going to help her make it come to life.
Thank you so much, brilliant.
That's what
Let's give him a round of applause.
Otherwise, I'm going to write up the blogs for the Big Hole website.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also wrote that I'm going to attend Essex and Surrey in the next 2 months.
yeah,
So yeah, big opportunity to.
How far do you live from the Banstead site? It's got to be the nearest to me.
15-minute drive. Yeah, but the issue is I'm just oversubscribed all the time. I'm too busy. I can't find the time.
No.
I've stressed myself out coming here today.
Next time you can say he is of saying that.
Yeah.
He is of saying it.
Yeah. But it's
You know that's not true.
It feels like that, doesn't it?
I said to Joe, I know I was living in the Hertford one. I was too busy. Another new client that's, you know, a really, you know, for me, a really good new client, and I was too busy, right? But the night before, and I said to Joe, I'm probably not going to be there. Said, oh no, not that. I just done my 50th one and the thing, and the night before, I sat there and I said to Joe, if I just do an hour of stuff quickly now, that'll free up that hour that I could probably get to Beacon tomorrow afternoon. And as long as I'm going through the stuff really structured, I need to go through during the day.
Yeah.
And that's it, and I made the heart with it.
Yeah.
And the result of that immediately
Yeah.
is Deepak right here, isn't it? Because if I've been at Hartford, I want to meet Deepak. Okay, I know we met each other briefly before, but we want to have a conversation. So there you go, there's a immediate.
Ironically, we had the same thing with Simon Thomas, who rang me up about, I'm so sorry, I'm so busy, I've got this crisis, I've got this client, and I said, well, where's your genius, Simon? Where's your genius? And I turned up at the meeting and he was there. There you go.
Very quickly, what's this? Mindset and strategy equals results. Okay? Next month, my masterclass.
Yes.
That's what I'm sharing a complete step-by-step case study of how we started using Facebook ads and email marketing together. So anyone wants to, or don't everyone wants to do Facebook ads without using their shirt, and we do a strategy with email marketing, which shoots some conversions like that. We'll just share that in my masterclass next month. Very good.
On that note, thank you so much.
Thank you.